I'm having 3 recipes today. You probably got the recipe. Look, I made a mistake in the pumpkin, spinach, ginger, and tofu curry. I've repeated cumin twice. One of them is actually supposed to be turmeric.
It's all right.
Send it again.
So,
Fix it and you send it again.
that's okay. You can change it on your piece of paper, can't you? Okay.
Cumin or and turmeric.
Send it again.
Okay.
1
There's other people
tablespoon
send it
turmeric powder, 1 tablespoon ground cumin. What I've done is put 1 tablespoon cumin, 1 tablespoon ground cumin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there'll be other people who want it to, right?
Well, I might change it then. Okay.
Yep.
Look, basically, if you've got chopped onion, it's a lot of ginger. There's 3 tablespoons of ginger in there. That's 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just, put a little bit like aga-aga, the so-so amount. Then I've got my turmeric, ground cumin, and ground coriander. And this is date puree. I made a big amount. I made actually a cup amount. Instead of honey, you can use date puree for any dishes. And most dishes which carry tomatoes tend to have something sweet added in. Okay? And this is very easy to do. 1 cup of dried dates, put 1 cup of boiling water, leave it for 5 minutes, mash it up. And you can put it in an airtight container, leave it in the fridge for about up to 3 weeks. Okay, so I only made 1 cup instead of 2 cups in the recipe book has. And then instead of chopped tomatoes, I'm just using crushed, so I don't have to mash it up further. So it's all ready. Coconut cream. I've got my pumpkin cubed, or sort of cubed, my shape formation of cubed, and I've baked it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 180 degrees. Instead of frozen spinach, 2 cups of frozen spinach, I'm going to use fresh spinach because I think they're nicer. That's sort of equivalent to 2 cups squashed down. Now the tofu, instead of buying firm tofu, I've actually used a fried tofu. This comes frozen by my favorite company called Lemyon. Can you see that? It's crispy veggie tofu. So it's actually got a bit more flavor in it. Andrew likes it, this one. So, he's not a very good fan of tofu otherwise. And of course, there's a coconut cream. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start making this. So basically, I've got my pot here. I've got my pan on my flame. And you can put any oil you like. You can use canola oil or, olive oil. I'll just use olive oil. That's about 1 tablespoon, and that's 2 tablespoons. If you don't want to use oil for anything to saute your onions, you can always use water to saute it. It just takes a little bit longer to warm up. That's all. Just waiting for the oil to warm up a little bit. There are some people say that you shouldn't cook in olive oil. Olive oil shouldn't be warmed up. But actually, I remember reading an article by Sue Rad. She's a dietitian. And she says, no, that's no problem. So that's where it is. My onions are going in. And garlic and ginger. So my good little garlic. There's a lot of ginger because this recipe is supposed to have, it's titled pumpkin, spinach, ginger, and tofu. So just cook it, keep stirring it so it gets a little soft, so the onions get nice and soft. So it probably takes about 3 or 4 minutes. This is turmeric. Can you see?
Mm.
Sometimes when you buy them from the shop, it's a lighter color. It all depends, I suppose, how ripe or old the turmeric is when they make it into a powder. So sometimes I buy them from the same shop, the same brand. Sometimes it's darker and sometimes it's lighter. This is cumin powder. It smells very nice. You want to have a smell with? Okay.
Yep.
And this is coriander powder. Okay. It's good to keep it airtight if you're keeping it for long. So, can you see the onions? Okay, the onion's almost ready. And basically, I'm going to just add the this is my tablespoon, and this is a 20 ml tablespoon. And New Zealanders tend to use a 15 ml tablespoon, and this recipe comes from a New Zealand guy called Jeremy Dixon. So I'm putting my turmeric, my cumin, and sorry, the other way around, that was my coriander, and that's my cumin. Cumin is slightly darker than coriander. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. I go by the smell. And as soon as you put you just keep stirring it so the curry powder starts getting a little bit of a spice, gets mixed right through. Because sometimes if your spices are a bit old, if you roast it, it refreshes it. Okay, and it stays salt as well. So 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. You can put the salt at the end if you like. Or if you're like me, sometimes I put it in the middle depending on the recipe. So can you see? You get a nice little aroma coming out now with the spices. Okay.
Just as well, we're on aroma vision.
Okay. So then you add your tomatoes. You can, if you want to, puree some more. But I decided because it's a crushed tomato, I don't need to puree it so much. So that's 1 tin, and I need to put another tin. So basically, you get like a nice curry sauce coming up. Okay, I'm supposed to have 1 cup of water. And can I just grab water there? The recipe makes enough for about 8 cups of food. So maybe about 6 to 8 people can eat it, basically. I'm just going to raise my temperature a little bit. Just warming it up a little bit, and then I need to add, I've done the salt. I need to add date puree, 3 tablespoons. So 1, I'm sort of making a full spoon with this so that it becomes a 15 mils. Any questions?
Nope.
Can you see what it looks like? Okay, so I'm just going to keep that going a little bit longer, and I have to add the coconut cream. This is 400 mils, so I'm just going to tip about half of it in there. I made sure I stirred it because the coconut cream, you know, it always, when it's in the tin, it stays like the liquid comes to the surface. I'm actually going to put my, sorry, I'm actually going to put my tofu in next because my tofu is still semi-frozen. I defrosted it, but didn't do it enough. And because it's a fried tofu, I can stir it up a little bit more, so it actually will not break up. But if you're using fresh tofu, put it just before you finish and just be very gentle with your stirring. I'm just going to wait for it to bubble up a bit so I know it's getting cooked. And I won't get frozen bit of tofu in my mouth when I'm eating. So spinach to go in. The recipe says you can use frozen spinach. I find the problem with my frozen spinach is always very mushy. So unless I can get frozen spinach, which is pieces of leaves, otherwise it doesn't look nice. So can you see that's just letting it cook a little bit. Just gonna make sure that because it's frozen spinach just cooks faster, but this one doesn't. And there goes my pumpkin. Can you see my pumpkin? And in it goes. If you want your spinach cooked longer, just cook it a bit more. You can actually not worry about it because, you know, spinach you can actually eat raw. So that's my curry basically. Do I need anything? And you can garnish with chili. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it there for a few seconds while I get. Just turned off the flame and I'm just going to dish it out into my bowl. It's a bit liquid. You can let it thicken up. It'll probably thicken up a bit because of the coconut cream in a short time. Can you see? You've got nice green stuff, you've got a bit of red stuff, you've got nice yellow tofus with protein in it, and a pumpkin to give you some yummy taste. Okay, just going to leave that over there. I'm just going to put this container away. make the next dish in a minute. Okay. I'm going to make curried cabbage stir fry. Okay, it's basically like a fried rice with lots of cabbage in it. Okay, and it's got onions, garlic, ginger, very, very Indian style. And then you have a curry powder I'm going to use. It's 1 teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to have cumin seeds and mustard seeds. These are cumin seeds. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They smell quite nice. It looks similar to caraway seeds, but they actually taste different. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So you have to be careful. They look very similar. And this is the black mustard seeds. You can get yellow ones too. Okay. And you know, they make mustard gas from mustard seeds. Pretty scary. This is my cabbage and frozen cup of peas, capsicum. Can you? Okay. And this is my almonds, which have been cut up into pieces. Okay. And instead of brown rice, I'm actually going to use white basmati rice because I don't have any brown rice at home. Before I start the next one, any questions? Eva? Diane? Who else? Carrie, any questions?
Yeah, Yana, can you use coriander leaves finely chopped instead of the powder?
Instead of the powder? No, you can't. Because they come from 2 different parts of it.
Oh, okay. All right.
The leaves are usually used at the end and for garnish and flavor. The powder comes from the seed, just been ground. So it's, yeah, it's 2 different parts of the tree, yeah.
Yeah, the big seed that you just show us, you know, can you find those grounded? Because I don't want to get caught in my teeth.
Which one?
You know, the 2 big seeds that you just show us?
Oh, mustard seeds are small.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You can grind it if you want, okay? For this recipe, they're actually leaving it unground. Sometimes you put it in hot oil, it bursts. Indians tend to do that, but it makes a mess of the kitchen. This one's only very small. Let me see. How can I put it? Okay. This is my fingernail.
No, I haven't got a macro.
No, you can. Can you see the size of it?
Oh, yeah.
It's really small. It's about 2.5, 3 millimeters.
Because I have a crack in my tooth. I don't want to get caught in it.
It won't, it won't. Okay. Okay, I'm going to use a wok for this. Yep. Okay, what do I have it? I think to spoil again. I'll put olive oil. Like I said, you can put any oil if you like, or you can put water.
Mustard seeds and hot oil, yeah.
No. This is a different way of making things. And says to saute the onions, garlic, and ginger. Can you hear that nice noise? Garlic. Must be very good for you. Garlic is supposed to have quite a lot of immune properties. It increases your immunity. And the only thing you have to be careful with garlic is if you're taking any blood thinners like warfarin, then you have to remember that the garlic will make the warfarin more active, so you will tend to bleed. So just be careful, okay? Especially if you're taking garlic tablets or something like that. So check with your doctor when you're taking any medication. So you notice I've sliced the onions for this. Because it's like a stir fry, I need to have, it's nice to have pieces of onion. Garlic's nicely getting cooked. The onions are just getting soft. And I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds and just let you know, sometimes when you buy cumin seeds, you can get pieces of sticks in there too. And 1 teaspoon of mustard seed. And what is the curry powder? This is a fairly mild curry powder. And I'm just going to put a teaspoon of it. I'm just going to quickly mix it up. And I'm just going to add my cabbage. I think I need an elf.
Some water.
I'm not adding any water because otherwise your stir fry will be very wet. Remember, this is like a fried rice. And this takes about 4 or 5 minutes to cook. I'm just going to lower it a little bit. Sorry about that noise. Finding my lid among all the other lids.
So now we can see Nana's reflection in the lid.
I cheat when I cook my rice. I cook in the rice cooker. It always comes out right, and I just ignore it. If I cook it on the stove, I quite often let it boil over, and I get a dirty stove to clean up. Just going to give it a stir. Cabbage is nicely getting cooked. If you cut it finer, you probably can cook it quicker. I sort of wanted the big pieces a bit. Be honest, if you've got people who are coming who've got good teeth, you don't have to cook the cabbage too much. So you've got nice crunchy feel to it. Okay, I'm just going to add my capsicum and my frozen peas. While that's cooking, I'll just get my measure. Okay. This is my half a cup. Just going to put the rice in, and that's half a cup of rice, 1 cup, 1.5. Oh, 2 cups. I'm just going to put a little bit more because I have a feeling I didn't put enough. I think I forgot something called salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. I mean, you can always add the salt at the end, or you can let people put salt for themselves. As you stir in the heat of it, the frozen peas get cooked quickly. This is one easy way of using up leftover rice, and it becomes like a one meal dish. One dish meal. Let me get it right.
That's the almonds.
There goes the almonds. You know, if people are allergic to almonds, you just leave it out. And what you can do is put pizza seeds in, pumpkin seeds. But if you're putting pumpkin seeds, just toast it because it seems the enzymes in the pumpkin seed get released only when they're a bit warmed up or cooked a bit. If you want to get the full benefit of eating pumpkin seeds, then just okay, that's about it. I'm just going to dish it out into a you can actually see it better. See? Comes to quite a bit. So you know, it's so pretty by itself that you don't even need to put a garnish on it. Can you lift move aside? You see? Looks good? You're all invited to come and have some dinner. Okay, the final thing I'm going to make is boysenberry nice cream. It's basically, you can, what I'm going to use is, instead of using boysenberry, I'm probably going to use some of the berries. Okay, for this, I'm going to use a food processor. That's my food processor. It's not as exciting as Crystal's Thermomix. Okay, so you blend the cashews with water. Okay, recipe asks for cashews, 1 cup of raw cashews, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of date puree or honey, 8 mint leaves. So what I'm going to do is just put the cashews in there, put about half the amount of water. Okay, so I can make it into a paste. Right. Oops. It's very stiff. I think I put the rubber in the wrong way. Oops, here we go.
Now, this is a really good meal if you need to have a wrestling workout as well.
So my rubber ring came off. That's probably why. The great thing called O-ring. We used to using O-rings. It's still a bit not. Want to work.
I think it's in the wrong place.
And
That's
it's right. I'll put the O-ring in the wrong place.
Okay, now we'll get it.
Now we're cooking with gas. I want to make it as smooth as possible. Would you believe it's easy to open now?
Yes.
So I've sort of made it like a paste. Can you see? It's still a bit roughish. So if you want to, you can run it some more. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like that because I don't mind mine being nice. And what it needs is 8 mint leaves. So we go, these are mint leaves from my garden. That's mint leaves. And there was, how much of the puree? 2 tablespoons.
The date puree.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then we have 4 cups of boysenberries, strawberries, or whatever berries you like. I'm going to put mixed berries. And I think, I'm not sure whether I've got enough. If I don't, it'll be blueberries added in. So it's just a berry one. You need it to stay frozen. I had a cup. I'll put the rest of the water there. That's 1 cup. Cups. A little bit less than 3 cups. Chop it up with blueberries. I'm trying to finish, I'm trying to finish all my berries which have been half opened.
Whoa.
Okay. Berries would go. And mix it up a bit more.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to add a little bit more water because it's very, very stiff. You can see it's really stiff and the berries haven't been broken up yet. So just add a little bit extra water if you want, but just be careful. You probably notice the lower part's all done, it's just the top bits to be done some more. You can, if you don't want to use cashews, you can use frozen bananas. They make, oops. I'm going to have it just like that because it's really, really nice. I'm going to put it into that's my granddaughter coming. So if you add more water, it'll get more soft, but I'd rather have it firmer because by the time we eat it, it'll get otherwise too soft. And just decorate it with a bit more mint. And it's quite interesting. You can actually add, I'm just going to put a couple of blueberries on top. And there you are. So if you make it with just strawberries, then you have a pale pink color. The boysenberries, they're very hard to get frozen boysenberries, but you can use it. So we can use any berries, to be honest. So whatever you like, your favorite taste, okay? And served a nice tall spoon. There you are. Any questions?
Can we use roasted cashews?
That was raw cashews I used.
Roasted. Ah, raw.
Raw.
Raw what?
Mm.
Cashews.
Yeah, I used raw cashews, Diane.
Yeah, I know, but I thought because I toasted all my cashews.
You can't use toasted cashews because it will not have that creamy thing happening and it won't bind some more.
Okay.
Mm. You know, if you want cashew cream, you just, you know, if you want cream for your dessert and things, and you want a vegan one, all you do is put half a cup or cup of cashew nuts, raw cashew nuts, and maybe add some tinned pears with it and just mash it up, and you get a sweet cashew cream. If you don't want it sweet, then just don't put anything else. Just put a bit of water and you get a cream which is not so sweet.
Mm.
So
Well, I can't believe it. You did it very quick. Did the tofu cook?
The tofu is actually a frozen cooked tofu, which I used. So I defrosted, but yeah, the tofu gets cooked very quickly. You know, if you buy the fresh tofu,
Yeah.
you only have to put it in and stir it in a little bit. And by the time, like 3 or 4 minutes, by the time the frozen, by the time the spinach gets soft, it gets all cooked.
Mm. That's very quick.
Yeah, that's the idea. You cook quick meals.
But all the chopping up was done beforehand.
Yeah. Well, the pumpkin had to be roasted beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, the pumpkin was roasted beforehand and it
But
was
that's the
chopped up.
main thing. I mean, you get everything prepared and you've got friends coming for a meal.
Yeah.
And cook it at the last minute so you're nice and hot straight onto the table. So instead of warming, keeping it in the oven to keep warm and they dry out and things like that. This way, you know, if they're close enough friends, they'll be there talking to you while you do a big stir fry.
Oh, okay. So the cabbage and the rice.
Yeah. The cabbage, I didn't cook beforehand.
Okay.
Only the rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you sounded loud, but at the end, I couldn't hear you.
Oh.
Blame Andrew.
That's what I'm
He
saying. I'm saying I can't hear your voice, Yana. I put it on chat.
Can you hear it now?
Not really, not good. No.
Oh.
Well, I can hear you, but not loud like at the beginning it happened.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Eva?
Yeah. You know, you roasted the seeds, the pumpkin seed. Did you say there's more nutritious to roast? And should I roast all my seeds like the sunflower seeds before I eat?
I don't know about sunflower seeds, but it probably doesn't matter with sunflowers, but only pumpkin seeds I know. You should roast it, like dry roast it on a pan.
Yes, I
and
did.
then cool it down and then eat it. You get more nutrition because I think there's I cannot remember the exact name, but one of the enzymes has to be broken up, and the way it does is from heat.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And it makes them yummier.
Actually, it does taste a lot better.
There is another question. Somebody else, Kez, how did you puree the ginger?
Oh, well, I cheated. I bought it already done.
Oh.
Okay, if not, you have to sit and grate it. And 3 tablespoons of ginger to grate is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you've got one of those, you know, stick blenders, the little container at the bottom, which you use for blending, you can use those. Actually, I've got one I can use. But, you know, it's so hard to get fresh ginger, or rather, I lie. Ginger is very expensive, and sometimes they're cheap, but a lot of the time it's really, really expensive. So if you buy a big lot when it's reasonably priced, then you can just blend it, freeze it in little cubes, and put it in the freezer.
You want to get the pop out of the fridge and show?
So the curry, it was sweet curry, is it?
Which curry? The curry for the curry itself? There's no chili in it?
Yeah, but you put dates, is it?
Okay. The reason you put dates, if you're cooking with anything which you're putting tomatoes in, a lot of tomatoes, even with pasta, when you put a lot of tomato paste in, you have to put something a little bit sweet in it. Sometimes you put a teaspoon of sugar or something.
Oh, never do that.
If you buy a pasta sauce already, you have a look, it's got a bit of sugar in it.
I never buy already pasta sauce. I make it my own.
One of the things they suggest to actually put a little bit of sugar, and I think it brings the flavor out.
Ah, okay.
Okay, this is alfalfa.
Yeah, did you?
No. I bought some alfalfa. This is garlic, chives, and alfalfa. And they're really nice. Like you can put it on the top if you want as a decoration. Or you can put half chili.
Oh, the food looks yummy.
Yes.
This is my chili. I buy sometimes long chilies, chop them up and put them with a bit of vinegar.
Whoa. Not cayenne pepper, huh?
No. This is just normal long chilies. They're not that. I soak them in vinegar and it's less hot. And then you can add it for your fried rice or your noodles, or you can put it on top of this. I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure whether Mark and Lucy are here for dinner. I'm not sure whether they can cope with it.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much. It looks great.
Thank you.
Hi, kiddo. Good night.
Thank you, Yana.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.